So I want to look at your TOD. I do want to remind you that there is no version of your PSD and doc sharing for this version of TOD. So you might want to address that before grading. Show me the layered version, of course, with all your masking intact, etc. So I guess all I can really comment here is on the visual merits of this, so which I will be more than glad to do. So you've got the body, that's definitely a masculine body, and then you've got the legs, and I think it's pretty obvious that it's pretty obvious that it's a male figure. That much is obvious. So that's awesome. You got a lot of potential here to do some different things with shaping the legs and making him do something. I mean, boy, there's so much potential here, but you just have him standing there in front of us. So I'd like you to address that. Give this guy some movement. Give him a narrative. We're supposed to put him in a scene. Create an interesting narrative, okay? I'm just not seeing it here by putting him like magically floating in front of a burlap background. I'm just not seeing it. It just seems to me like this was a kind of okay, maybe this will work. You know what I'm saying? There's no real thought behind it. The type itself, there's no type effects. I mean, I gave you guys like, geez, there must be 15 different resources for tutorials and videos about enhancing and presenting your type in Photoshop, and that's part of the assignment, and this is what we have. So you definitely need to address that. Moving forward from here, just want to grab my notes real quick so I can just take a quick look at some things here. Okay, a background. The background should complement the design. It should not be bold, which it isn't. It's not overtaken, which it's not doing anything for the design. It's just there. Okay, so you need to develop a scene, create a narrative for the background, and place the character in a background, and have him doing something, have him somehow interacting with that background, thereby interacting with the viewer. It'll be much more interesting. The face, let's look at the face. The face isn't working, two reasons. Number one, you just have this old school iPad just kind of plopped over the body, and that's the head. So let's think that through, okay? There's no neck, there's no ears, there's no, it's just plop. Okay, let's say that's the head. And let's just enhance that's just going to be the head by drawing a face in there, okay? It just seems like a really ill-planned conceptual approach for this. It's at this point you should be planning this strategic approach to this. How are we going to make his neck develop into the muscles in his toy head, and how are we going to make biceps in his arms, and his puffy Stay Puft Marshmallow Man arms? You know what I'm saying? I mean, how are we going to do these things? It can't just be that we're going to plop these things down and say, okay, that's the head. You see what I'm saying? Let's work it and develop it. Don't draw the face in. Create a face, okay? Remember, use type in interesting ways. Okay, so think about that. Okay, and then I just want to address this right here because I just want to keep talking about this. Are you feeling more comfortable about about determining the overall effect of the piece? And that's a question you need to ask yourself over and over. You need to say, Stacy, I'm sorry, Sierra, am designing this thing, am I feeling comfortable about determining the goal of my overall effect? Am I, talk to yourself, ask yourself these questions. Does the design style seem appropriate for the stated goal or the purpose? Okay, are you asking yourself that question? All right, ask yourself this question. Is this piece creative? And be honest with yourself, because it's the only way you're going to grow as a designer. But ask yourself, look at your work and say, is this creative? Take your work and compare it to the examples that I had posted in the announcements area and see how your work stacks up. And be honest with yourself. Again, if it doesn't, if you feel you're falling short, don't say, well, those students had longer than I did, or no, they didn't. They're the exact same students that you are, the exact same class. So, really think about pushing this thing to a level of a competitiveness where this would be able to stand in a very competitive, positive light next to, let's say, the examples that I have posted. Okay, keep working. All right, thanks.